Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła, kiedy my żyjemy. Co nam obca przemoc dzieła, szalną odbierzemy. Marsz, marsz Dąbrowski, z ziemi włoskiej do Polski. Za moim przewodem złączył się z narodem. Marsz, marsz Dąbrowski, z ziemi włoskiej do Polski. Za moim przewodem złączył się z narodem.
Thank you very much. Indeed. As the director of the International Cooperation Center at the International Faculty of Engineering of the Łódź University of Technology, I have a great pleasure to open for the 28th time the inauguration ceremony of a new academic year 2021 at the International Faculty of Engineering. The traditional opening of the academic year has always been a live event with a procession of all students and all professors. The pandemic has set new trends for us and outlined a new academic tradition. Only a part of our distinguished guests and a selected part of students can participate in a live ceremony. However, today by broadcasting the summer ceremony online, we can welcome and connect to everyone, not only with our students and staff close by or around the world, but also with our national and international partners, our alumni and others who might otherwise not have been able to participate in a live event for various reasons. This is a new reality, but we'll do our best to make this event a great ceremony, especially for our newcomers, newly admitted students of the International Faculty of Engineering. This is evidenced by our excellent guests who, despite the pandemic, honored us with their presence. I cordially welcome on our ceremony His Magnificence, the Rector of the Łódź University of Technology, Professor Krzysztof Jóźwik. The Vice Rector of the Łódź University of Technology for Education, Professor Andrzej Romanowski. The Vice Rector of the University for Student Affairs, Professor Witold Pawłowski. We cordially greet the Vice Rectors who connect us with online. The Vice Rector for Development, Professor Paweł Strumiło, and the Vice Rector for Science, Professor Łukasz Albrecht. I very warmly welcome our distinguished guests. His Excellency Ambassador of France in Poland, Mr. Frédéric Billet. Mr. Georges Diener, Chancellor for Cooperation and Cultural Action of the French Embassy. Welcome. Mrs. Alicja Bień, Honorary Consul of France in Poland. Mr. Christophe Pauli, Attaché for University and Scientific Cooperation. Mrs. Noemi Piaskowski, Chancellor Regional Economic Service. Fabienne Ricordel, who is responsible for the cooperation with the university's French Embassy in Warsaw. Welcome. I cordially welcome former rectors of the Łódź University of Technology, Professor Sławomir Wiak and Professor Stanisław Bielecki. I welcome the director for the Center for Teaching and Learning of Łódź University of Technology, Ms. Adriana Kozłowska. Welcome. And Jan Krysiński, the former director, Professor Jan Krysiński, former rector of the university, and Tomasz Sariusz-Wolski, former director of the International Faculty of Engineering, who joined us online. Welcome. Well, we cooperate very closely with business partners, and they are very present at the International Faculty of Engineering. So today we have a great honor to host Anna Kędziora-Szwaggrzat, the head of Veolia Energia Łódź. Welcome. Cezary Pieczętowski, site leader from Amazon company. Welcome. Cezary, here. And many directors who are present and join us online. I cordially welcome all directors of high school and primary school. They are downstairs because of a COVID pandemic situation. They could not join this live ceremony. However, they are in this building downstairs. I would like to welcome Clémence de Barros, French teacher, our French FLE teacher, participating in many French projects at our university. I cordially welcome all representatives of faculties providing education with a scheme of, within the scheme of International Faculty of Engineering. Professor Tomasz Kubiak, Dean of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering. Professor Jacek Kucharski, Dean of the Faculty of Electrical, Electronic, Computer and Control Engineering. Professor Małgorzata Iwona Szynkowska-Jóźwik, Dean of the Faculty of Chemistry. Professor Anna Diowsz, Dean of the Faculty of Biotechnology and Food Sciences. Professor Adam Wojciechowski, Dean of the Faculty of Technical Physics, Information Technology and Applied Mathematics. And Professor Agnieszka Zakrzewska-Bielawska, Dean of the Faculty of Management and Production Engineering. Welcome. This ceremony is for the first ceremony presided by the newly elected rector. Please allow me once again to welcome our new rector and congratulate Professor Jóźwik, Your Magnificency. I really do hope that IFE will be a part of your strategy and will be a part of your internationalization strategy at the university. We will support you. We will do our best to make the internationalization of our university one of the pillars and strategic force of our university. At the end of August, Professor Sławomir Wiak officially ended his term. Professor Wiak, we would like to thank you again for all your efforts, for all your support for IFE, for International Faculty of Engineering. Thanks to you, we were able to grow safely, and we have done many, many ambitious projects. Thank you once again. Panie rektorze, bardzo dziękuję. Thank you. And this is also a very important moment for us, because for the first time in the history of IFE, an IFE graduate has been nominated for the very, very important and high position at our university. This is Professor Andrzej Romanowski. Dear Andrzej, we would like you to know that we are very, very proud of you. So this is IFE graduate, the first IFE graduate to become a vice rector of a university. Congratulations, Andrzej. Dear students, today you start your learning at the Łódź University of Technology within the scheme of the International Faculty of Engineering. It is a unique scheme in which faculties of our university cooperate under the umbrella of international faculty. Well, the main goal is to provide the best possible education. internationally oriented education. For us today, it's a high point of the year. As leaders of a university and faculties, we have put our best and warmest costumes. You can see it's really hard to wear it. But for us, it's a great pleasure to welcome you, our new students. This year, this is also a great responsibility and a particular challenge for all of us, not only you, but also us, teachers, authorities at the university. I have said you should start learning, to stress that you are on your lifelong learning pathway. You have started your learning about 19 years ago. You will have to continue it at least next 50, 60 years. So it's quite a big adventure ahead of you. There is a big difference between school and university, between learning and studying. Studying means knocking on doors, seeking knowledge, asking questions when the lecture is over. Studying means testing and becoming familiar with the utmost limits of your intellect. So one of the most important learning outcomes we would like you to achieve at the end of the process, learning process at the university, is ability of independent learning. For us, and we do hope for you, it is an essential outcome and competence for your successful lifelong learning. We do our best to make this place, not only IFE, but also the whole university, a place of useful learning. This is a statement we got from Strathclyde University. This is Scottish University. At the entrance of the university, you can find this statement, the place of useful learning. For us, university should be a place of useful, but also very active learning. So that is why we do our best to implement active teaching and active learning approach. I know we live in very difficult times. Many of your plans, many of your ambitions are spoiling by pandemic. But I ask you not to give up so easily. Be careful, keep all safety rules, but please be brave in the fight for your dreams. I hope that despite the pandemic situation we face right now, you will be able to take advantage of all diversity offered by this university. Do things because they are hard. Don't shy away from big undertakings. Feel the pleasure of pushing yourselves, of freeing yourself from the shackles of proximity. Universities with you on board will be the high commissioners for future generations that are needed to tackle the difficult and complex challenges ahead. These challenges are global. Perhaps it's a good moment to repeat an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We will definitely survive COVID and all this pandemic situation, and we will be stronger but we need to be together. We need to act together. Dear students, we wish you a wonderful and very fruitful time spent at our university. Good luck, and remember that your feedback really matters for us. We need you on board to continuously improve our activity and to improve the university, to make our university not only a place of active learning, useful learning, but also to be recognized in many countries in Europe and in the world. Now I would like to ask His Magnificence Professor Krzysztof Jóźwik, our rector of the Łódź University of Technology, to give short address.
Thank you, dear Professor, dear Director, His Excellency, the Ambassador, dear Rectors, dear Deans, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear students. We have gathered here as the unique ceremony, the inauguration of academic year in the International Faculty of Engineering at the Łódź University of Technology, known to all in Łódź, in Poland, as well in the world as IFE. IFE is a unique unit of our university, which for many years has been characterized by a firm setting of education in the international context. It is also the driving force for innovation in education, not only at Łódź University of Technology, but also at many other universities in Poland. It is also significant that it was here in 1997 for the first time in Europe at the initiative of the director and founder Tomasz Saryusz-Wolski, a mobility window. It was created here, and it was introduced only a few years later as an official tool to support mobility in Europe. It is also here that the most initiative teaching methods are implemented and then shared to whole the university. For more than 10 years, IFE has been conducting many projects using the PBL, project-based learning method, and design thinking, or flip education, which is well established at IFE and popular in Europe. A bit history. In 2007, students moved into a new building, which is the accumulation of the best solutions, creating an innovative environment, not so much for teaching, but first and foremost for effective learning of students, active learning. This building is much liked both by Polish students as well as by many incoming IFE students from abroad. Every year, hundreds of students from abroad come to Łódź to study at the Łódź University of Technology and to study at IFE. We pride ourselves of the fact that we occupy the first place in Poland in terms of the number of French students studying at Polish universities. Over 100 of them enroll each year in Łódź University of Technology at IFE. Not to mention the fact that IFE comprises also foreign professors who often emphasize the great satisfaction of working with our students. Today, on the eve of the 27th anniversary of IFE, it has to be said, using metaphoric language, that this innovative IFE train is absolutely not stopping, but on the contrary, quickly accelerating. It was here at IFE that the Dean of the School of Engineering at Stanford University, Jennifer Wimb, and other outstanding professors from such American universities as Harvard or University of New Hampshire works for several days with our students. And finally, it is here that a new revolution in education begins. Similarly to best American universities, at the same time overtaking many outstanding European universities, we are implementing the most up-to-date education system. Flipped education, based on a very strong participation of the best universities in Europe and around the world. That is a change in the role between the student and the teacher. Dear students, today is the day that you are begin learning in this unique place. Congratulations. That is your success in getting into this very innovative unit. I am sure that the next few years will allow you to develop skills which will give you the most satisfying and highest level career path. All the best for you for the whole period of the study. Be healthy, reasonable, and take everything from our teachers and the university. Be proud that you are students of Lodz University of Technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Jóźwik, for your address. Now we will conduct the matriculation of new coming students. So we will start with the oath of IFE students of all programs taught in English and those taught in French. Everybody please stand up for the oath. Okay, so IFE students studying in English and in French, so please raise a hand, okay, and repeat. I solemnly swear and I shall strive to gain knowledge and develop my own personality. Relate with respect to the university authorities and all its communities. Observe the university law, respect its habits and exhibit behavior which shows care for the dignity and honor of a student of Lodz University of Technology. Thank you very much. Please take a seat. And now I would like to ask our rector and the vice rectors for students affairs to provide the matriculation of our students. So we will start with IFE students.
Okay, so I would like to invite here the first group of students. Karolina Cieślicka, Michał Delong, Jakub Duranowski, Alicja Faber, Bartosz Godlewski, Adam Granczka, Adam Jerzyński, Katarzyna Kopania, Kacper Królewiak and Sara Latri. And the second group is Olaf Masłowski, Katarzyna Mróz, Piotr Owczarek, Magdalena Pakuła, Paweł Płóciennik, Jakub Redner, Weronika Rodak, Jadwiga Sternicka, Juliusz Szymajda, Justyna Tartanus and Łukasz Zając.
Thank you very much. France is our first strategic partner to support us in many, many projects. Today's presence of His Excellence Ambassador of France is a proof of this cooperation, very close cooperation with France. So for many years we have been working with French Embassy on a project designed for high school, for primary school. It is so-called FAMI, French Academy for engineers, for young engineers. Every year the French teachers come to our university to provide some learning and to support our students with learning of this beautiful language. Votre Excellence, nous serons honorés si vous souhaitez prêter serment aux apprentis de l'Académie. Le serment sera prêté en français. Now we will take the oath of French students of French Academy. So please, everybody, stand up for the oath. Voilà, les élèves, les étudiants, les apprentis de l'Académie. Levez votre doigt, s'il vous plaît. C'est comme ça. Voilà, merci. Je jure et promets de m'engager à étudier de manière sérieuse afin d'acquérir des connaissances et de développer mes capacités et mes compétences personnelles. Je m'engage à respecter les lois, le règlement et l'autorité de l'Université polytechnique de Łódź. Par ma conduite, je jure de défendre l'honneur et la dignité en tant qu'étudiant de l'Académie. Merci beaucoup. Now, please take a seat. Now, I would like to ask Your Excellency and the Rector of the University to nominate a student of our Academy.
Okay, so we invite Zainab Baj, Szymon Bisewski, Łucja Biskup, Pola Cedzyńska, Amelia Dubiel, Iga Durlik, Lena Gasztych, Wiktoria Grzelewska, Natalia Jaśniewska, Maria Jeziorska, Oskar Kornacki, Wiktor Kowalski and Dominika Kwapisz. And we invite the second group, Jan Makowski, Jan Nadolny, Barbara Niewiadomska, Antoni Pawlak, Zuzanna Płóciennik, Hanna Podgórska, Karolina Potakowska, Stanisław Świderek, Filip Sybilak, Anna Szymczak, Maria Wasilewska, Weronika Wrzesień and Alicja Zielińska.
Thank you very much. And now, I would like to ask the rector of a university to officially open the academic year.
The new academic year,
Please stand up.
2020-2021, is opened. Quod bonum Felix Faustum Fortunatem quesit.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let this magnificent moment be commemorated by listening to Gaude Mater Polonia, performed by Academic Choir of the Lodz University of Technology. Thank you very much. Please take a seat. Now we will move on to a very unique moment. Mrs. Alicja Bień, Honorary Consul of France in Łódź, each year supports the best high school students and best students of our university with her special scholarship. It is a very unique distinction for these young people and proof of appreciation for their achievements. This year, scholarship from our Honorary Consul of France in Łódź received Adrianna Staniecka from the high school number 13 and Julia Szypowska from the International Faculty of Engineering. Please come here. Congratulations. Félicitations. As I hope you will all agree, each academic year should be commenced with a good lecture as a good start, guarantees good academic year. Today, we have a great honor and a pleasure to host His Excellence, Ambassador of France in Poland, Mr. Frédéric Billet. Now, I would like to ask Your Excellency to give an inaugural lecture. And the lecture will be in French, but will be translated by our outstanding professor, British professor, working at our university, but graduate of French philology, right? So able to speak 3 languages at the moment because he learned Polish as well. Thank you very much, John Speller, for traduction. Your Excellency. Je vais fixer.
Monsieur le recteur, mesdames et messieurs les professeurs, mesdames et messieurs les étudiants, c'est pour moi aujourd'hui un double honneur et un double plaisir, tout d'abord que de revenir dans cette ville de Łódź, ville qui a relevé le défi de la modernisation et de la reconversion, pour rester une grande métropole de l'industrie européenne, mais aussi de pouvoir m'adresser et m'exprimer devant ces étudiants de cette prestigieuse université polytechnique.
It is for me a great honor and a double pleasure, first of all, to return to the city of Łódź, a city that has taken up the challenge of modernization and the development, to remain a great city of European industry, but also to be able to speak to students from this prestigious technical university.
Je suis très honoré et ravi de l'invitation que vous m'avez faite, monsieur le recteur, de venir prononcer ici ce cours inaugural à la Faculté internationale des ingénieurs de l'École polytechnique de Łódź, un cursus unique en Europe centrale qui me permet une formation de futurs ingénieurs en langue française.
I'm very honored and delighted by your invitation, Mr. Rector, to come here to deliver this inaugural lecture at the International Faculty of Engineering at Łódź University of Technology, a unique faculty in Central Europe that allows future engineers to be trained in French.
Je voudrais donc profiter de cette occasion qui m'est donnée ici de partager avec vous quelques réflexions sur la place de la Pologne et de la France en Europe face aux défis du XXIe siècle et dans ce contexte de crise sanitaire.
I would therefore like to take this opportunity to share with you some thoughts on the place of Poland and France in Europe in the face of the challenges of the 21st century and in the context of the health crisis.
À l'occasion de sa visite de février dernier en Pologne, le président de la République française, M. Emmanuel Macron, a résumé ce qui rapproche les peuples français et polonais dans son discours qu'il a prononcé à l'université de Cracovie.
The President of the Republic, Emmanuel Macron, summed up what brings the Polish and French peoples together in his speech at the University of Krakow last February.
Il a dit « Nos deux peuples, qu'un millénaire de guerre européenne n'a jamais conduit à l'affrontement, sont en effet si proches. C'est la même aspiration à la liberté, le même attachement viscéral à la terre comme à l'idéal, un vrai sens de l'histoire et de la nation qui nous rassemble. »
Our two peoples, whom a millennium of European wars has never led into confrontation, are indeed so close. It is the same ardent aspiration for freedom, the same visceral attachment to the land of and to our ideals, a true sense of history and nationhood that bring us together.
Il a même ajouté « Nos relations sont pleines de passion ».
We are warm friends, he added.
Le général de Gaulle, qui connaissait bien la Pologne, car il avait servi comme jeune officier en 1919-1920, au moment de la guerre polono-bolchevique, disait lui-même « Français et Polonais, le succès et le malheur de l'un est toujours lié à celui de l'autre. »
General de Gaulle, who knew Poland well because he served as a young officer in 1919 to 1920, at the time of the Polish-Bolshevik War, said, "French and Polish, the success and misfortune of one is always linked to the other."
Et je crois que cette histoire, cette proximité de destin, cette sensibilité commune doivent permettre à nos deux pays de travailler étroitement et de coopérer ensemble pour faire avancer l'Europe au-delà des désaccords qui surgissent de temps à autre, mais qui ne reflètent pas la profondeur de nos liens mutuels.
And I believe that this history, this closeness of destiny, this common feeling should enable our two countries to work closely and cooperate together to move Europe forward, beyond the few disagreements that arise from time to time on certain subjects, but which do not reflect the depth of our mutual ties.
Nous devons donc essayer de mettre nos relations à la hauteur de cette histoire commune dont nous avons parlé, mais aussi des défis qui sont devant nous.
We must try to bring our relations up to the level of this common history and the challenges that lie ahead.
La matrice pour essayer de mieux comprendre l'avenir, c'est souvent l'histoire et le passé, et il faut savoir repérer les récurrences et les répétitions, et comme on dit, pour savoir où l'on va, il faut savoir d'où l'on vient.
The framework for trying to better understand the future is often history and the past, and we must know how to spot recurrences and repetitions. As they say, to know where we are going, we must know where we have been.
Pour vous donner une idée de cette profondeur, j'évoquerai tout d'abord le domaine de l'enseignement supérieur avec quelques éléments de la relation bilatérale franco-polonaise en matière universitaire.
To give you an idea of the depth of our ties, I will discuss the field of higher education and a few elements of our bilateral scientific and academic Franco-Polish relationship.
Actuellement, c'est plus de 70 doubles diplômes et de nombreux échanges universitaires, car la France est le 3e pays d'accueil des étudiants polonais en mobilité, et la France accueille donc plusieurs milliers d'étudiants polonais chaque année, ce dont nous nous réjouissons.
There are more than 70 double degrees and numerous university exchanges. France is the third largest host country for Polish students, and France hosts several thousand Polish students, and we are very happy about that.
Plusieurs universités polonaises, 7 au total, sont déjà engagées dans des projets d'universités européennes avec des universités françaises. C'est ici un projet majeur pour nous, car il s'agit de former les futures élites européennes.
Several Polish universities are involved in the European university projects with French universities. This is of major importance for us because it's a question of training the future European elites.
La France est aussi le 5e partenaire scientifique de la Pologne, après l'Allemagne, les États-Unis, le Royaume-Uni et l'Italie, en termes de publications scientifiques.
France is Poland's 5th scientific partner after Germany, the United States, the United Kingdom and Italy in terms of the number of scientific publications.
Enfin, le programme bilatéral, qui s'appelle Partenariat Ubercurien, Polonium, offre un soutien très apprécié à la mobilité des chercheurs entre la France et la Pologne. Chaque année, ce sont 21 nouveaux projets financés pour 2 ans. Il s'agit donc ici de faire vivre l'héritage de Marie Sklodowska-Curie, cette grande physicienne et illustre franco-polonaise, 1e femme à avoir reçu le prix Nobel et seule femme à en avoir reçu 2.
The bilateral program, PHC, Huber-Curian Partnership, Polonium, offers much appreciated support for the mobility of researchers between France and Poland. Each year, 21 new projects are funded for 2 years each one. The aim is to keep alive the legacy of Marie Skłodowska-Curie, that great physicist and illustrious Franco-Polish woman, the first woman to have received the Nobel Prize and the only woman to have received 2.
Mesdames, Messieurs, je voudrais maintenant élargir un peu la perspective et souligner les principaux défis que la Pologne et la France devront relever ensemble en Europe. J'ai choisi de me concentrer devant vous ce soir principalement sur 3 points.
I would now like to broaden the perspective and highlight the main challenges that Poland and France must face together in Europe. I will concentrate on 3 main points.
Le premier défi, c'est la sécurité du continent. Nous sommes en effet dans un monde où le multilatéralisme est contesté, bousculé, et l'Europe est exposée aux conséquences de cet affaiblissement du multilatéralisme.
The first challenge is the security of the continent. We are in a world where multilateralism is contested and challenged, and Europe is exposed to the consequences of this weakening of multilateralism.
Le droit est en effet en recul, et c'est souvent la loi du plus fort qui domine. Les grands traités internationaux, datant le plus souvent de la fin de la guerre froide, comme le dernier étant le traité FNI, les forces nucléaires à portée intermédiaire, et qui jusqu'ici assuraient la sécurité de l'Europe, ces grands traités ont été pour la plupart démantelés.
The law is often in retreat, and it's often the law of the strongest that prevails. The major international treaties, mostly that date back to the Cold War period, are being repealed, most recently the Treaty for Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces.
Comme l'avait dit le président de la République à l'occasion de sa visite en Pologne, pour bâtir la sécurité collective de l'Europe, nous devons travailler sur l'OTAN et l'Europe de la défense, qui sont les deux piliers de la sécurité collective en Europe.
As the President of the Republic said during his visit to Poland, to build Europe's collective security, we have to work on NATO and build a Europe of defense. These are the two pillars of our collective European security.
La Pologne et la France sont de fait des pays engagés au sein de l'OTAN qui souhaitent renforcer les synergies entre l'Alliance et les initiatives européennes dans le domaine de la sécurité et de la défense, en s'appuyant sur les atouts et les capacités de leurs armées respectives.
Poland and France are in fact allied countries committed within NATO and wishing to strengthen the synergies between the alliance and the European initiatives in the field of security and defense, building on the strengths and capabilities of their respective armies.
La multiplication aujourd'hui des crises sur la scène internationale ne nous laisse pas de choix. Nous autres Français, nous sommes convaincus que les pays européens doivent assumer davantage de responsabilités dans le domaine budgétaire, capacitaire et également opérationnel.
The multiplication of crises on the international scene leaves us no choice. We, the French, are convinced that European countries must assume more responsibility, both in terms of fiscal and capability in operational matters.
Et là, il ne s'agit pas que de slogans. La Pologne et la France participent déjà à la présence avancée, renforcée de l'OTAN.
These are not just slogans. Poland and France are already participating in NATO's enhanced forward presence.
Depuis mars 2017, la France déploie plusieurs centaines d'hommes qui réalisent des missions en Lituanie et en Lettonie, témoignant ainsi de leur attachement à la protection du flanc est de l'Europe et à la sécurité régionale.
Since March 2017, France has deployed several hundred men to carry out missions in Lithuania and Latvia, demonstrating their commitment to protecting Europe's eastern flank.
Nous sommes également conjointement engagés au Liban, au sein de la force intermédiaire des Nations Unies au Liban, avec une présence française depuis 1978, où nous contribuons à la stabilisation sécuritaire.
We are also jointly engaged in Lebanon as part of the United Nations Interim Force. Since 1978, we've had 700 men there and are continuing to contribute to security stabilization.
Et les forces polonaises sont engagées à nos côtés au sein de cette force.
Polish forces work together with us in this force.
Enfin, je voudrais aussi signaler et rappeler l'engagement français au Levant contre la menace terroriste. Et la France est présente depuis 2014. Aujourd'hui, ce sont plusieurs centaines de soldats français insérés au sein des états-majors ou dans des déploiements aériens et maritimes.
Finally, I'm thinking of our commitment in the Levant against the terrorist threat. France has been present there since 2014, and today there are several hundred soldiers there working in air and sea deployments.
Je voudrais terminer sur ce point en mentionnant également la présence de la France et de la Pologne au sein de l'Eurocorps, qui est un corps d'armée auquel contribuent 10 pays européens, employés à la fois dans le cadre européen et notanien, et sur un nombre très varié de théâtres maintenant depuis 20 ans.
I'd like to end this part of my speech by mentioning the presence of France and Poland within the Eurocorps, a corps to which 10 European countries contribute, employed in both a European and NATO framework in a very varied number of theatres over the last 20 years.
La Pologne et la France ont également, dans ce domaine, décidé d'accroître leur coopération en matière de cybersécurité sur la base de leur appui conjoint à l'appel de Paris pour la confiance et la sécurité dans le cyberespace et à l'engagement de l'OTAN en matière de cyberdéfense.
Poland and France have also decided to increase their cooperation on cybersecurity, based on their joint support for the Paris Appeal for Confidence and Security in Cyberspace and NATO's commitment to cyber defense.
Et il est en outre crucial et indispensable de renforcer la convergence sur les projets de coopération industrielle dans le domaine de la défense afin de forger une véritable base industrielle et technologique de défense européenne à même de répondre aux besoins capacitaires européens de demain.
It's extremely important to build those capacities in order to build a secure and prosperous future tomorrow.
La Pologne et la France travaillent ensemble au sein de l'Union européenne dans le cadre de la coopération structurée permanente, CSP, sur les systèmes de combat collaboratifs, de communication et d'entraînement des unités de santé.
France and Poland are working together on health systems
CSP, inside the EU.
inside the EU. Okay, I'm lost here.
Ok. C'était le premier défi, donc le défi de la sécurité. Le second défi sur lequel nous travaillons, c'est le défi de la transition énergétique. Et c'est là aussi un immense changement avec l'objectif de la neutralité carbone de 2050 que nous nous sommes fixés entre pays européens.
The second challenge is energy transition. This is a huge change with the goal of carbon neutrality by 2050.
Là aussi, il ne s'agit pas de slogan, idéologie, mais il en va de l'avenir de la planète et de notre continent.
Here too, it's not just a matter of slogans and ideology, but the future of our planet and the continent.
L'Europe s'est donc engagée à produire mieux en prenant compte des contraintes environnementales et en ayant recours à des technologies faiblement émissives.
Europe is therefore committed to improve production, taking into account the environmental constraints and using low-emission technologies.
Il s'agit en fait de vivre mieux, car les particules fines tuent des milliers de personnes chaque année, et cela pose aussi, comme vous le savez, des problèmes de santé publique.
It's also about living better, or quality of life, because it concerns our lifestyles, from thermal renovation, housing, to industries that emit less CO2 and transportation.
Pour répondre à cette ambition, en particulier dans le cadre du pacte vert européen, la Pologne et la France œuvrent ensemble pour avancer sur 3 principes clés.
To meet these goals, particularly within the framework of the European Green Pact, Poland and France are working together to move forward on 3 key principles.
En premier lieu, nous disons que la transition vers la neutralité carbone doit être équitable. La Pologne et la France soutiennent donc un fonds de transition juste, qui est un fonds européen, et qui va apporter un soutien ciblé aux régions et aux secteurs les plus touchés par la transformation énergétique.
First, the transition to carbon neutrality must be fair. Poland and France are therefore supporting the Just Transition Fund, which should provide targeted support to the regions and sectors that are most affected by the transition.
En deuxième lieu, pour réussir cette transition, il importe de respecter les droits des États membres à décider de leur bouquet énergétique et à choisir les technologies les plus appropriées.
Secondly, to make this transition a success, it's important to respect the right of member states to decide on the energy mix and to choose the most appropriate technologies.
La France et la Pologne renforcent donc leur coopération relative dans les industries et les énergies décarbonées, y compris en matière d'énergie nucléaire, qui seront effectivement nécessaires pendant la phase de transition.
France and Poland are therefore strengthening their cooperation on decarbonized industries and energies, including nuclear energy, which will be necessary during the transition phase.
Et les entreprises françaises du secteur énergétique sont très actives et très présentes en Pologne, y compris à Łódź, car elles contribuent à aider la Pologne dans cette transformation énergétique et à progresser vers une économie sobre en carbone.
French companies in the energy sector are very active and present in Poland, including in Łódź. They are helping Poland in this energy transition and to move towards a low-carbon economy.
En troisième lieu, cette transition doit être mise en œuvre dans un cadre international qui protège la compétitivité et les emplois de l'Union européenne.
Thirdly, the transition must be implemented within an international framework that protects the EU's competitiveness and jobs.
C'est pourquoi la Pologne et la France soutiennent pleinement une adaptation des règles européennes, notamment en matière d'aide d'État et de marchés publics, et la mise en place d'un mécanisme d'ajustement carbone aux frontières, concernant notamment les secteurs à forte intensité en carbone.
This is why Poland and France fully support an adaptation of European rules, particularly on state aid and public procurement, and the implementation of a border carbon adjustment mechanism for carbon-intensive sectors.
J'en viens maintenant au troisième grand défi, après la sécurité et l'énergie, c'est évidemment celui de bâtir partout en Europe une économie de l'innovation, de la croissance et de la connaissance.
Okay, the third major challenge is obviously that of building an economy based on innovation, growth and knowledge throughout Europe.
Nous sommes donc tous dans un monde bouleversé par la pandémie du Covid-19, monde dans lequel le numérique prend une place de plus en plus forte, où les transformations du monde du travail, de notre vie au quotidien sont massives, et donc il faut avoir une Europe de la connaissance, de la formation et de l'investissement dans ces grandes innovations.
We are in a world shaken by the COVID-19 pandemic. Digital technology is becoming increasingly important. The transformations in the world of work and in our daily lives are massive. We must therefore have a Europe of knowledge, training and investment in these major innovations.
De plus, l'évolution de la concurrence mondiale exige une adaptation rapide de nos outils. Ainsi, notre politique de concurrence devait être revue, tant en ce qui concerne les règles relatives aux aides de l'État que le contrôle des concentrations, notamment pour tenir compte des comportements abusifs des entreprises soutenues ou subventionnées par les États.
The evolution of global competition requires rapid adaptation of our tools. Thus, competition policy should be reviewed, both in terms of state aid rules and merger controls, in particular to take into account the abusive behavior of companies supported or subsidized by states, and the dominant role of the major digital players, which require a specific regulatory framework at the EU level.
Dans ce contexte, il est essentiel que l'Union européenne développe des initiatives communes qui renforcent la base industrielle de l'Europe. Là aussi, on peut travailler et aller beaucoup plus loin dans des secteurs porteurs pour l'avenir, comme par exemple celui de l'hydrogène ou dans le numérique, que ce soit pour la gestion des data avec les supercalculateurs ou l'élaboration d'un cloud européen en matière numérique.
In this context, it's essential that the EU promotes joint initiatives that strengthen Europe's industrial base and integrate our European value chains.
Et ce
Here
sont,
too, we can go further in sectors that are promising for the future, such as hydrogen or digital technologies, whether it's data management with supercomputers or the development of the European cloud.
et ce sont donc des secteurs d'avenir dans lesquels la Pologne et la France peuvent coopérer et travailler ensemble pour le futur.
These are sectors of the future in which Poland and France can cooperate.
Enfin, il est nécessaire d'avoir une fiscalité juste et équitable dans toute l'Europe, car c'est un des piliers essentiels sur lequel repose la confiance dans l'Union européenne.
Finally, fair and equitable taxation throughout Europe is one of the essential pillars on which trust in the EU is based.
À ce titre, la Pologne et la France sont en faveur d'une imposition juste des entreprises numériques et soutiennent la réforme des règles fiscales internationales menées au sein de l'OCDE.
As such, Poland and France are in favour of fair taxation of digital companies and support the reform of international tax rules carried out within the OECD.
Et cela touche votre vie quotidienne, puisque vous êtes tous ici des utilisateurs de grandes plateformes, notamment américaines, pour communiquer, faire des achats ou trouver un moyen de transport.
This affects your daily lives. All of you here use major platforms, usually American, for communication, shopping or transportation.
Et ces grandes plateformes numériques paient très peu d'impôts en Europe, car elles ont installé leur siège dans des États à la fiscalité accommodante.
These large digital platforms pay very little tax in Europe because they are based in states with accommodating tax regimes.
Et l'objectif de notre travail en Europe est de justement les contraindre, ces entreprises, à payer des impôts là où elles ont leur véritable activité et leurs clients, c'est-à-dire dans tous les pays de l'Union européenne.
So the objective of this work is to force them to pay taxes where they really have their businesses and their customers, that's to say in European countries.
Par ailleurs, nos deux pays, la Pologne et la France, entendent faire de la lutte contre la fraude et l'évasion fiscale une priorité en Europe, notamment dans le domaine de la taxe sur la valeur ajoutée, la TVA.
Our two countries intend to make the fight against tax fraud and evasion a priority in Europe, particularly in the area of value-added tax.
Et dans ce domaine, dans le domaine de la lutte contre la fraude, contre la TVA, la Pologne a développé une expertise de premier plan.
Poland has developed leading expertise in this area.
Et pour vous donner une idée de l'ampleur de la tâche, sachez que la fraude à la TVA, c'est plus de 140 milliards d'euros par an dans toute l'Union européenne, donc 4,5 milliards en Pologne ou 13 milliards d'euros en France.
To give you an idea of the scale of this task, you should know that VAT fraud accounts for more than 140 billion euros per year throughout the EU, including 4.5 billion euros in Poland and 13 billion in France.
Par ailleurs, les pays européens ont pris conscience de la nécessité d'une politique industrielle européenne. Et la crise du Covid a montré que l'Europe était en situation de dépendance stratégique dans de nombreux secteurs, comme celui des médicaments.
European countries have become aware of the need for a European industrial policy. The COVID crisis has shown that Europe was in a situation of strategic dependence in many sectors, such as that of medicines.
Il s'agit donc désormais de travailler à des alliances industrielles entre les pays européens, comme cela a commencé à se faire, notamment dans le domaine des batteries, où existe effectivement cette alliance des batteries à laquelle la France et la Pologne participent, afin de rendre possible des innovations de rupture.
It's therefore now a question of working on industrial alliances between European countries, such as has begun to be done in the field of batteries, with the Battery Alliance in which France and Poland participate, in order to make breakthrough innovations possible.
Et dans de nouveaux secteurs, cela va concerner par exemple l'Internet des objets, l'hydrogène, la défense, les microprocesseurs, les données et également l'intelligence artificielle.
This will involve the Internet of Things, hydrogen, defense, microprocessors, data and artificial intelligence.
Mesdames, Messieurs, pour réaliser ces différentes alliances industrielles dont on parle, l'Europe doit continuer également à investir énormément dans l'enseignement supérieur et la recherche.
Ladies and gentlemen, to achieve these different industrial alliances, Europe must continue to invest in higher education and research.
L'approfondissement de cette Europe de l'enseignement supérieur et de la recherche passera par différents moyens.
The promotion of the circulation of knowledge, research excellence and dynamism of innovation will happen in different ways.
Tout d'abord, la poursuite de l'harmonisation des systèmes d'enseignement supérieur en Europe, qui doit permettre aux diplômés d'accéder à un emploi qualifié et épanouissant.
First of all, the further harmonization of higher education systems in Europe, which should enable graduates to have access to skilled and fulfilling employment.
La deuxième piste, c'est la mobilité étudiante, notamment grâce au programme Erasmus.
Secondly, student mobility, in particular thanks to the Erasmus program.
Ensuite, la création des universités européennes, autrement dit d'alliances d'universités qui permettent aux étudiants de réaliser leurs études dans différents pays européens et d'obtenir à l'issue de leur parcours un diplôme conjoint qui sera un diplôme européen.
Next, the creation of European universities. In other words, alliances of universities that allow students to study in different European countries and to obtain a joint degree, a European diploma, at the end of their studies.
Le soutien à la mobilité des chercheurs en Europe est également important. Il est essentiel que les chercheurs puissent travailler dans différents pays européens.
Supporting the mobility of researchers in Europe is also key.
Il faut également renforcer le développement des liens entre l'enseignement supérieur, la recherche et le monde de l'entreprise.
We also need to develop links between higher education, research and the business world.
Et enfin, la promotion du multilinguisme. Votre programme de formation ici, au sein de votre université, est tout à fait exemplaire de ce point de vue.
Finally, the question of multilingualism, and your educational program here at IFE is absolutely exemplary in this respect.
Et comme vous le voyez, le développement d'une Europe de l'enseignement supérieur et de la recherche va profiter à tous. Elle permet d'abord une meilleure coopération entre les États et elle améliore ensuite les formations supérieures proposées dans chacun des pays et elle attire également des étudiants internationaux tout en générant plus de revenus sur le plan économique.
The development of a Europe of higher education and research benefits everyone, enables strong cooperation between European states, it improves the quality of higher education offered in each country, it attracts international students, it generates economic income, and it contributes to the development of a European culture and citizenship.
Enfin, elle contribue à développer une culture et une citoyenneté européenne.
As I said.
Vous serez demain donc les acteurs, et c'est vous qui, dans les différents secteurs que vous représentez, de la recherche, de l'innovation, de l'ingénierie, vous serez en première ligne pour faire vivre, pour faire que l'Europe soit toujours à la pointe du combat de l'innovation.
Tomorrow, you will be the actors. It is you who, in the sectors of research, innovation, and engineering, will be in the front line to ensure that Europe is always at the forefront of the fight for innovation.
C'est à vous qu'il reviendra d'inventer le monde de demain plutôt que de le subir et de le découvrir.
It will be up to you to invent the world of tomorrow, rather than to endure it and to discover it.
En qualité d'ingénieur, vous devrez apporter des réponses à des défis majeurs, du changement climatique à l'allongement de la vie, en passant par la gestion des data dans un monde où tout s'accélère.
As engineers, you will have to provide answers to the major challenges, from climate change to longer life expectancy, data management, in a world where everything is accelerating.
C'est ainsi et à cette condition que l'Europe pourra garder le contrôle de son avenir face aux autres superpuissances mondiales.
This is how Europe will be able to keep control of its future against the world's other superpowers.
Et donc, comme vous pouvez le constater, les enjeux sont extrêmement importants, ils sont stratégiques, et il convient d'en prendre conscience pour se mobiliser afin d'être à la hauteur de ces défis.
So, as you can appreciate, these challenges are very great, and we have to be ready to face up to them.
Pour conclure, je rappellerai que l'Union européenne, jusqu'ici, a survécu à des décennies de crise.
In conclusion, I would simply remind you that the European Union has survived a decade of crises.
Je crois que tous les États membres ont compris l'enjeu de faire de l'Europe une réelle puissance, capable d'avoir son mot à dire sur l'échiquier géopolitique mondial, afin de ne pas subir la loi des autres puissances.
I believe that all member states have understood the challenge of making Europe a real superpower, capable of having its say on the world geopolitical stage, so as not to be a subject to the law of other powers.
Il ne s'agit pas de faire de l'Europe un super-État ou de nier les différences nationales. L'Union européenne est un modèle unique en son genre, modèle de coopération intégrée entre les États souverains.
It is not a question of turning it into a superstate or of denying national differences. The European Union is a unique model of integrated cooperation between sovereign states.
Et je suis convaincu que les jeunes Polonais et les jeunes Français, mais aussi tous les jeunes Européens qui sont avec nous aujourd'hui, sauront continuer à faire vivre ce projet qui assurera la paix et le développement de notre continent. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
I'm sure that the young Poles and the young French here today, and all the young Europeans who are with us, will be able to keep this project alive and ensure peace and development of our continent. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for the inspiring lecture, for inaugural lecture. Thank you for identifying our areas we can develop our cooperation, security, innovation, and energy. And we promise to do our best to be a part of your action plan you outlined and presented us. Thank you once again. Before we finish the ceremony, I would like to cast my vote once again to His Magnificence, our Rector. This year is a Jubilee year. Unfortunately, the celebration could not take place. But we managed to prepare a limited collection of a very unique medal. Maybe we will show the medal, Your Magnificency. The French Embassy has been supporting our activity, our project, for many, many years. And a French Embassy supported us in our dreams and ambitions. And right now, the rector of a university, Professor Krzysztof Jóźwik, would like to present this particular medal as an expression of a great gratitude for all this year of cooperation to your Excellence, Ambassador of France in Poland, Mr. Frédéric Billet. There's another person who always says yes to the Lodz University of Technology and support us in many projects. Today we saw one of the evidence, the scholarship of honorary consul. So, but there are many, many projects. Dear Alicia Bienk, we are very grateful and we would like you to accept the medal as well. Now I would like to welcome the choir of the Lodz University of Technology. Please stand up. We are all listening to Gaudamus Igitur performance, performed before by the Lodz academic choir of the Lodz University of Technology. Thank you very much. I would like to thank our choir and its conductor, Mr. Mariusz Lewy, for being with us today as always. Thank you once again. Our inauguration ceremony has ended. Once again, I would like to thank all guests on site and those who joined online for their presence and support of this important moment in these difficult times. Please stand up and stay at the places while rectors, deans, and official guests are leaving the hall. Color guard, please leave the hall.